Om Sam Saraswati Namaha. Namaste. Namaste, everybody. Tonight we're going to begin chapter 8. Om Bhur Swaha. Om Bhuva Swaha. Om Swaha Swaha. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Swaha. Arjuna Vacha Swaha. Kim Had Brahma Kimadhyatmam. Kim Karma Purushottamam. Adhibhutam Chakim Proktam. Adidevam Kimuchyate Swaha. Adiyagya Katam Kotram. Dehesmi Madhusudanam. Prayana Kali Chakatam. Deyosti Nityamatmami Swaha. Sri Bhagavad Gita Swaha. Acharam Brahma Bhagavan. Sabhavo Yatmanuchyate. Bhutabhavo Abhakaro. Visakha Karma Sanyita Swaha. Adibhutam Shurobhavam. Purushta Chavi Devatam. Adiyagyo Mevatram. Dehdeva Pritambara Swaha. Antarkale Mamachamavevam. Svarad Mutva Kalivaram. Yaprayati Sabhabhavam. Yati Nasyatra Samsaka Swaha. Yam Bhapi Smaran Bhavam. Tyadyate Kalivaram. Tam Tamireti Kondeya. Sadata Bhava Bhavita Swaha. Tasmadeshu Kaleshu. Mama Nusmana Gyujata. Mayarpita Manobadir. Mama Veshyaska Sansakam Swaha. Abhyasa Yoga Yutena. Stetasam Yakamidam. Paramam Purusham Divyam. Yati Partam Hachintayam Swaha. Kapil Puratam Manusasi Piram. Ano Ranisam Mansamudya Ridyam. Sarvasya Dattara Machinta Rupam. Avidya Pranam Tamasa Parastat Swaha. Prajnanakali Manasa Chalitam. Patya Yukto Yoga Pralina Jeva. Ugo Margipana Mapesha Samyak. Satam Param Purusha Mipi Divyam Swaha. Yadacharam Preda Pito Badanti. Tisanti Vyatyayanto Vitaraka. Yati Chanto Brahma Charyam Charanti. Tate Padam Sangrahinam Prabhache Swaha. Sarvadarani Samyamya. Manohiti Nirudyacha. Mahamudya Tatyatmana Pranam. Asito Yogadharanam Swaha. Omiti Kaksharam Brahma. Vyaharan Imabhusman Basmaran. Vyaprayati Tatyam Cheham. Sakati Paramangati Swaha. Ananya Cheta Satatam. Yamam Smarati Nityasa. Tasyaham Sulabhapartam. Nityayudasya Yoginasa. Mamu Vidya Punajanma. Dukaloyan Namasashvatam. Nabduvanti Prahatmana. Samsini Paramangadasa. Abrahmabhuvantarugam. Punaravarti Norjunam. Mamu Vidya Chukodeyam. Punachatan Vidyate Swaha. Sahasra Yuga Paryantam. Arhavyam Brahmo Vidu. Ratri Yuga Sakasrantam. Teo Ratri Vidojanasva Avyaktavyakaya Sarva Prabhavatyadya Ragame Ratragame Priyante Tatraivakyata Sanyate Sva Bhuttakrama Sakevayam Bhuttva Priyate Ratragame Vasakavarta Prabhavyadya Jaka Ragame Sva Parastasma Matu Babunyo Yakto Yatyaka Sanatana Yasa Sameshu Budeshu Natyasu Naminasyati Sva Avyakto Charati Yuktam Kamabu Paramaganim Yam Prapya Nanda Bhartante Kadama Paramahasva Purusha Paravartam Mokyam Navyasanyanyayam Yasmanta Hasami Bhutani Yena Sarvamitam Tatasva Yadrakale Tanavritim Avritim Javajoginam Prayatnyantitam Kalam Prakshami Bharatarshivasva Agni Jyotir Rakasukla Shanmasa Uttarayana Tatra Gachanti Brahma Brahma Vidojanasva Dumo Ratri Tata Krishna Shanmasa Dachinayatam Tatra Janrasamam Jyotir Yogi Pratyati Bhartatesva Shukla Krishna Gatigite Jagata Shastadevate Ekaya Jata Nadritim Anyaya Bhartate Punasva Nepi Sriti Bharta Janam Yogi Mutyati Kastanam Tasmatavirshu Kaleshu Yogi Udo Bharjunasva Videshu Yageshu Tapasu Chaiva Dayeshu Yatpunya Palam Pradesham Adyeti Tasarvamidam Viditiyam Yogi Paramstana Mupeti Chadyam Svam Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Ashmo Adhyaya Swa Om Swa Om Swa Swa Om Swa Swa Om Bhurva Swa Swa. And the clarity of pure devotion said, what is that supreme divinity? What is the ultimate spirituality? O most excellent among men, Krishna, what is action and what is said to be the essence of manifested existence and what is called the essence of divinity? Boy, if that isn't a mouthful. Sounds like my class. Who performs the supreme sacrifice in this body, and how is it performed, slayer of too much Krishna? How are you to be known at the time of transformation by those who have controlled themselves? A whole lot of good questions. And the respected Supreme Lord said, the supreme divinity is the ultimate imperishable, whose intrinsic nature is said to be spirituality. The offering which generates the attitudes of existence is known as action. That means every action we perform, that's the bhav of all of creation. We make the bhav of creation through our karma. If you don't like it, who's responsible? What we're seeing is the manifestation of the fruits of our karma. The collective karma and the individual karma. How do we relate to it? The supreme divinity is the ultimate imperishable. So that is the true existence that doesn't change. The consciousness which perceives the existence which doesn't change. This ultimate imperishable. Never changes, it never perishes. The existence which constantly transforms, is the essence of manifested being. It always changes. And the one who perceives it is the supreme imperishable, the ultimate imperishable, who never changes. The witness of all action. And the fully perfect, unchanging soul is the essence of divinity. And that's what divine means. That ultimate, unchanging, perfect soul, the essence of divinity, Purnamavaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadacyate. It's perfect, full, complete. I alone am the supreme sacrificer here in the body, and you who are the best among those who have bodies. So this I, which is the supreme, ultimate, imperishable, the soul of all, the capacity of recognition, the consciousness which is aware. He makes the sacrifice. We called him the wearer of the body before, and now he is the supreme sacrificer. I alone am the supreme sacrificer. And who am I? Krishna. Shiva Aham. I am Shiva. I am God. And God is consciousness. And I am the consciousness in this body. And therefore I'm divine. And he who is liberated from the body at the time of death, remembering me alone, he goes and attains my being without a doubt. So if we've cultivated the habit during our lives to contemplate the supreme sacrificer, the ultimate imperishable, the universal soul, if we live with God during our lives, there's a possibility that at the time of our transformation, we will remember that supreme divinity and therefore, without a doubt, attain that being. Whatever attitude or existence one remembers when one renounces the body in the end, O son of she who takes away the deficiency of others, Arjuna, that alone does he become, always thinking of that. So whatever you cultivate the habit to contemplate, you think of it. Wherever your attachment lies, you think of that. And that's your values. That's important to you. You're thinking about it. And if you think about that, whatever attitude you have when you leave the body is the attitude you have when you take the new body. Whatever feeling you had when you took off the old clothes is the feeling you're going to have when you put on the new ones. Because the wearer of the body is the supreme, imperishable, ultimate, infinite consciousness. Therefore, in all times and in all confrontations, remember me. And that means every time two meet. Remember God. In every communion, in every confrontation, in every cohabitating, remember me. Offer your mind and intellect to me. You will come to me without a doubt. If you see God in everything you unite with, you're united with God. And that's the process of uniting with God, seeing God in everything. United in the practice of yoga, or union, with consciousness not moving to any other perception. Deeply contemplating the supreme, divine, perfect consciousness, son of she who excels, he attains. Now, people have asked about meditation. What does meditation mean? But united in the practice of union, with consciousness not moving to any other perception. Clear definition. Deeply contemplating the supreme, divine, perfect consciousness. This is dhyana. This is the meaning of meditation. He attains meditation. He attains communion. He attains the perfection of union when he can't think of anything else. Who remembers the ancient poet? The ruler who is smaller than an atom, supporter of all, of inconceivable form, of the color of the sun beyond all darkness. At the time of death, with a still mind filled with devotion, and by the strength of union, having the life force concentrated in the middle between the eyebrows, we talked about the still flame. He completely attains the divine, supreme, perfect consciousness. That communion in samadhi. That communion in the stillness, the perfection of union. That is meditation. Those who know wisdom call that Tat Tvam Asi, the imperishable. That infinite beyond conception. Those who are self-controlled and free from attachment enter it. You can't enter if you have attachment. They won't let you bring all your baggage with you. Sorry. You gotta leave the attachments outside. And then you can enter into the union. Desiring that, they practice moving in godliness. That goal I shall briefly describe to you. What does it mean to move in godliness? Let's listen to Krishna's description. Having controlled all of the doors to the body, remember the city of 9 gates, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Having controlled all of the doors to the body, having restrained the mind within the heart. Your mind and your heart are in the same place. And that means the mind is not out there contemplating attachments. Bring him back. That's the practice of meditation. We cultivate the stillness and the self-control with which we can gently grab up all those thoughts and bring them back, bring the mind back. So the mind is restrained within the heart. That means my mind contemplates only divine love. My heart, my mind is full of love. My heart is full of that mind. And all I have is love in my heart. Having placed the life force in the highest summit, the soul is established in the union of contemplation. And this is dharma. This is yoga dharma. See, and oftentimes when you trace the pran, the life force on the sahasrara, and then let it get higher and higher and higher, because there is actually no limit to how high I am. There is no way to measure the extremities of my being. Her feet cover the earth, and the top of her crown reaches the highest elevation of the atmosphere. And as a sitting yogi, my being grows and grows and grows. So that when the pran comes outside the sahasrara and looks down at that limited form, this is dharana. Contemplation, there are 3. There's a subject, I am the perceiver, the witness. There's an object, I love for God. And there's a bhava, there's a relationship. We're feeling my heart is full of love, the pran is coming out, I can see it growing and growing and growing. Who says Om, the one-syllabled supreme divinity, remembering me as he departs, renouncing the body, He who always remembers me with consciousness absorbed, for him, son of she who excels Arjuna, I am easily attainable for the yogi who is always in union. And it's true, once you know the path to union, once you know how to gather up all your thoughts and bring them into your heart, fill your heart full of love, fill your mind full of heart, fill your sahasrara with prana, with the energy, and bring up that energy. Once you know how to go into meditation, once you know how to go into samadhi, I am easily attainable. Once you know the path, it's easy to go there. You just know what the signposts are saying. You know what the checkpoints are. You know how to guide your consciousness, your awareness into the presence and make it brighter and bigger and better, more intense. Bhava, which is an intensity of reality, an attitude of awareness which is extremely real to me. Bhava. Bhava bhakti utle utle aha mori mori. That attitude of devotion rises and rises, and what happens to me? I dissolve into the ocean of being. Having attained to me, the great souls who have reached the highest perfection do not take birth again in the place of transitory pain. They dwell as one in infinite consciousness. Even if they choose to wear a body, it's no longer a place of transitory pain. They are united in union through whatever action they perform. All the worlds, clarity, pure devotion, even the world of supreme divinity, return again. But having attained to me, O son of she who takes away the deficiency of others, Arjuna, another birth is not known. It's not known. All you know is life. You don't know life and death and birth and coming back and going away. Where do you go? You just remain in the same consciousness, in the same attitude, in the same bhav, in the same intensity of reality and union with that supreme divinity. Those people who know the day of the Supreme to be 1,000 ages, and the night of the Supreme to end in 1,000 ages, they are those who know day and night. Not people who look at their watch and say a day is 24 hours by human calculation. 1,000 yugas is a day, and they are one with Brahma. And 1,000 yugas is a night, and they are one with Brahma. They know day and night. When day comes, all manifest from the unmanifest. And when night comes, all dissolve in that which is known as the unmanifest. Doesn't make it devoid of existence. It makes it unmanifest. I can't perceive it. I don't have the capability. I don't have the capacity to perceive it. It doesn't mean it's devoid of existence. It means I'm a fool. I have limited capacity. How can I blame the creation? Then there was never a time I ceased to exist. Only the day comes and it manifests, and then the night comes and it's imperceptible. This village of existence manifests again and again. That's so beautiful. Bhutagram. This village of existence. This entire prapancha, all that is manifest of 5 elements, including the galaxies and the intergalactic relationships, and as far as you can perceive into manifested existence, it's part of this village. And it manifests again and again. This intergalactic village, universal existence. Helplessly they dissolve at the coming of night and manifest at the coming of day, son of she who excels Arjuna. So nature manifests according to its nature because that's its nature. It's not like I want to manifest or I don't want to manifest. It's like nature has a law of nature that says it's time to manifest. And we are powerless but to accept her law. But superior to that unmanifest is another existence, which is the eternal manifest in all beings, which is not destroyed when beings perish. And that eternal unmanifest is called Mool Prakriti. The root, the mool of pra, before kri, becoming, iti, this. The root, what was before becoming this, is the eternal unmanifest. Even it exists when there is manifestation, and even it exists when there is unmanifestation. That Mool Prakriti, the energy of all creation, becomes fully potential. Nothing is manifest. There is no kinetic energy. It's all potential energy. And what do you see in manifestation? Nothing. But that doesn't make it devoid of existence. Do you see the energy in the battery? It's potential energy. You only see the manifestation of the energy when it becomes kinetic. The light is illuminating. Kinetic energy in manifestation is activity, karma. And when the Mool Prakriti is fully potential, there is nothing manifest, but it's not devoid of existence. And there am I. This unmanifest is called imperishable, Shakti, said to be the highest goal, the Divine Mother. Those who attain it do not return. That is my supreme place, where Sadashiva and Shakti are one. In Ishvara Tattva. That is my supreme place. And that is the witness. That supreme full consciousness who resides in all beings, by whom this all is pervaded, is attained by totally focused devotion. The son of she who excels Arjuna, and there is no other way. I explained to you the times of departure in which yogis will return and in which they will not return. O supreme among descendants of the light of wisdom, Arjuna. The people who know the supreme divinity go to the supreme divinity if they depart at the time of fire, light, daytime, the bright lunar fortnight, Shukla Paksh, the 6 months while the sun is in the northern hemisphere, Uttaraya. At the time of smoke, night, the dark lunar fortnight, such yogis attain the light of the moon and returns. Light and dark are considered to be the ways of manifested world. By one, an individual goes without return, and by the other, he returns again. And this is also symbolic of wisdom and ignorance, detachment and attachment. So if you choose the path of light, the path of wisdom, the path of love, then your attachment is for God. And if you choose the path of the world, the path of of smoke, of darkness, of ignorance, of selfishness, then we return again and again until we give up our selfishness. Any yogi not knowing these ways, son of she who excels Arjuna, is in the delusion of ignorance. And therefore, be united in union at all times, clarity of pure devotion. Just stay there. United in union. Whatever meritorious fruits have been proclaimed in the Vedas, in sacrifices, in purifying austerities, and in charitable gifts, all of that is surpassed by the yogi who knows the Supreme and attains to the foremost place. So all of these are methods by which we purify ourselves, through sacrifice, through studies in the Vedas, through purifying austerities, and giving up our attachments in charity for the benefit of others. If we become yogis who know the Supreme, all of these become unnecessary. They become, instead of externally induced disciplines, which we were told to perform because we'll get a good fruit, we'll get a good result, they become the natural expression of the longing of our soul. And that ends the 8th chapter. Are there any questions? Please.
Swamiji, this is about tapas.
Yes.
This is mentioned both in this chapter and in the previous chapter.
Yes.
Now, 2 questions on that, Swamiji. One is when we sit in an asana and do our sadhana,
yes,
there is some heat which is generated.
Absolutely.
The first question is that the amount of heat, a measurement of the tapasya, that's the first question. And second, when we carry out our day-to-day activities, how do we know we are doing tapasya? Is it when we do things that we dislike and feel pain, would that be an example of tapasya?
Not necessarily. Your first question is, how do we measure the heat generated from tapasya? And I would suggest British thermal units. To the second question, BTUs. How many BTUs do you radiate? Can you warm the Ganga? The second question is, how do you know when you're performing tapasya? If we have an intention, our motivation is to demonstrate the sincerity and intensity of our love for God by performing an action, it is an austerity. Whether you enjoy it or you don't. Because sometimes when you sing the chandi for an hour or 2, you enjoy it immensely. And sometimes when you sing the chandi for 7 or 8 hours, it becomes painful. And the first 2 hours were enjoyable. So now, how do you measure what is tapasya and what is not? When you are performing an action exclusively for the glorification of God, for the edification of your community, for the upliftment of your guru, in order to achieve knowledge, in order to purify ourselves and to surrender our selfish desires, then we could suggest that's tapasya. And it could be, it's an extremely bhakti criteria. It's an individual criteria. It pertains to the perception of every individual themselves. They will determine for themselves. For some, tapasya is sweeping the floor. And for others, tapasya is climbing the highest mountain. For others, the hardest thing we can do is to sit still. So we strive to sit in one asana, and we continually recite mantras as a purifying austerity. All of these are performing tapasya if your intention is to say, God, I love you, trying to do the best I can to come closer to you, to purify myself and become devoid of defects so that I'm worthy to come to your presence. And that's how I would suggest we define tapasya. The attitude with which actions are undertaken. Are there other questions?
Question from Nanda from San Jose.
Namaste, Nandama.
Can Swamiji please speak about the control of the senses? What is the difference between control and suppression of our senses? Thank you very much, Swamiji.
Controlling the senses means restraining the senses from frivolous movements. It means fixing our senses in such a state of attention that other distractions don't arise. They may try to call us, but they're no longer distractions. We are so focused in our attentiveness. And that's how I would define control of the senses. So we begin by controlling our organs of action. And then we control the organs of knowledge, the senses. So long as the organs of action are moving about, it's difficult to control the senses unless the mind is totally focused in the subject of communication. And now when we control the senses, we try to fix our eyes on one perception. Whether it be the inner eyes looking at the still flame within the Agya Chakra, or the outer eyes looking at the moving flames of the Havan Kund, or looking at the Murti, or looking at one point, the Bindu on the deity. Whatever object of awareness we choose, that becomes the focal point with which we fix the gaze and stop the roaming movement, the random movement of our eyes. And similarly, as we are doing pranayama and reciting mantras, we're creating a vibration inside our ears so that it restrains the ears from hearing outside sounds. And all we're contemplating is that one point of vision and the sound within. And the same with the olfactory senses and the sense of touch. We don't want to be leaning against anything or have any extraneous touching. Only on the bottom, seated in an asana, not leaning against a wall. So these are ways in which we control the senses and focus the perception of the senses so that the mind can be restrained.
Swamiji, here's a question from Kumari.
Yes? Hi Kumari, Mom. Namaste.
Kumari says, verse 5 speaks about liberation at the time of death. Swamiji spoke about cultivating the attitude of God consciousness throughout one's life in preparation for departure from physical body. But isn't it true that some spiritual seekers become more intense in their attitude of love for God at the end of life and make progress? Swamiji, what is really meant by remembering at the time of death?
Kumari, Mom, we have decided that the soul does not die. And we've also understood that the energy does not die. So what we are calling death is the death of the ego. When we become freed from the imposition of ego upon our thoughts. If we are remembering God at that time, if we remember Krishna alone, we attain Krishna's being without a doubt. And when the ego dies, and the ego succumbs to the devotion, the attitude of devotion becomes so intense that the ego actually succumbs. Then we are liberated from the body because we have no ego identification that this is me and this is mine and all its appurtenances and all its associations belong to me. And that is the meaning that I understand, liberated from the body at the time of the death. Remembering God. It's remembering God at the time of the destruction of the ego. We assume another ego. Shivoaham. And that's the objective.
A question from Wendy from New Jersey.
Namaste, Wendy. Thank you for your beautiful letter.
How do we know if an obstacle or difficulty we come up against in life is there to help us grow or there to tell us we're on the wrong path?
Oh, no matter which way it is, it's going to help us grow. They're both synonymous. Even if we're on the wrong path, there were so many sadhus I met who showed me exactly what I don't want to practice in my own life. In fact, you remember that sadhu we met in Somnath who was trying to get rid of his anger, and he got angrier and angrier no matter how many practices he employed. He said, I'm not going to eat, and I'm only going to live on milk, and I'm going to restrain myself from various forms of activity. And he got angrier and angrier until he confessed to us, I couldn't get rid of my anger. So what we are suggesting is don't strive to get rid of anything. Strive to fill yourself full of the right things. Fill yourself full of God. Fill yourself full of love. Fill yourself full of devotion. And then you'll see that even if you were on the wrong path, it was just the lesson that you needed to show you how to do it correctly. It will be the most efficient way for you to understand. Because probably at that point in time, if anyone had told you that way isn't correct, you may not have been ready to listen. And please give my love to Sam.
Swamiji, a question from Jayadeva in Princeton.
Hi, Jayadev. Namaste.
Swamiji, I think I heard you explain that not being bound to rebirth was to be established in the union, so that what to others looks like death simply doesn't change our sense of union. Is that correct?
Absolutely correct. I bow to your understanding. Thank you very much. You rephrased it in much more discernible terms. Yes, that is true. When we're established in union, there's no such thing as death. There's eternal life. And that's the union. When we're full of love, all we can say is forgive them. They know not what they're doing.
Swamiji, in verse 3,
yes.
Can you speak a little bit about what are the attitudes of existence?
The attitudes of existence are known as action. Every action everyone performs, anyone, in any way, is adding to the attitude of existence. Every effect from every cause has generated the attitude of existence. Now, it's up to each of us. What attitudes do we want to edify? And which ones do we want to diminish? Every action makes the attitude of existence. That means I just move some molecules away. And I created a new attitude in existence. Every activity that any one of us performs at any time is creating the bhava of the bhava. Bhava means all existence. Bhava means the intensity of reality, the feeling, the attitude of existence. And so now in this bhava of all being, we're creating every expression, every activity contributes to the attitude of existence. And I pray that we're putting out the most positive energy that we possibly can so that we can make this the most beautiful attitude of existence that can possibly exist. That's our goal, that's our laksha, that's our form of divinity. So that's the attitude in which we're pursuing. That's the path through which we are pursuing.
Swamiji, there's a question from Usha from Canada.
Namaste, Usha.
Usha asks in verse 12, shutting the mind in the heart, would that refer to meditation technique, placing the mind or attention in the heart chakra during meditation as compared to the Agya chakra, or does it refer to having loving thoughts and placing prana in the Sahasrara would be the result of this? Or would you refer this to a practice also?
All of the above. So you're totally correct. It is a technique to put all your mind in your heart, and that means fill your mind full of love. It is a technique to focus your attention on the Anahata and then bring it up to the Sahasrara. It is, all your expressions are clear definitions of our intention, what we're trying to do in meditation through this practice. And take it to the highest extreme, the highest altruistic expression, and let's say that we're going to fill our heart full of love, we're going to fill our mind full of devotion, and we're going to bring all the energy up and above and beyond, and there is no limit to my greatness. There is no outer extremity. And this becomes part of a series of meditation techniques, one after the other, and it becomes the truth of our being. It becomes the reality of our being, Usha. We just feel it all the time. Look inside. Remember Hanuman, he just opened his chest, he said, oh my gosh, Ram and Sita are right there in my heart. It's the reality of our being, and we're always full of love. And that's the practice that we wish to cultivate. Yes?
A question from Nanda from San Jose.
Yes.
Do we have to keep our attention on any chakra when we chant the chanting?
Absolutely not. You don't have to keep your attention any specific place. Any one place where you put your attention is the right place. No matter where it may be, if it be in the Muladhara, if it be in the Sahasrara, if it any place in between, if it be in the book, if it be in the fire, if it be in the Murti, if it be in the Guru, if it be wherever you focus your attention, there is God. That's the divinity for you at that time. And anytime you move your attention, you see another form of God. And that's your form of meditation at that time. During the Chandi, there are so many things going on. There's a story that we're reading. There's a fire to which we are offering. There is a deity that is being meditated upon, described, and her activities of cutting down anger and passion and want of resolution, irresistible temptation, devoid of clear understanding. All these negative qualities of myself are entering the fire. They're being cut down. I can focus attention on any one of those things at one time, and that's my form of divinity. And that's my realization of the Chandi. And that's the efficacy of reciting the Chandipat, is I actually see this is my story. This is not some history of what went on back when. It's not a war that happened in the clouds, but it's something that I'm doing right now as I sit here and speak with you. Today, this is my chandi part. And I happen to be doing it mostly in English. But the story is the same, the intention is the same, the focus is the same, and the intensity of reality is the same. So no, you don't have to focus your attention on any one place.
Swamiji, question from Jayadeva. Jayadeva says, thank you Swamiji for the understanding that blossoms through your teaching. I need help in understanding verses 23 through 26. All this about specific times when rebirth may or may not take place.
Joydeep, primarily we're discussing focus on the light. Focus on wisdom. Remove yourself from darkness. Remove yourself from ignorance. If we can focus on the light, focus on the brightness, focus on the wisdom, focus on the devotion, we will stay on the path to eternal union. And if we start focusing on the darkness and start looking at the selfishness and start looking at the what's in it for me, we're going to fall down into that attitude of rebirth again and again. So here are some specific times by which these activities are most propitious. And there are in our lunar calendar a bunch of lunatics who follow the cycles of the moon and the sun and try to look for the most auspicious times to perform certain activities. And the times of light are most propitious. And the times of darkness are of lesser benefit. So that when Bhishma was shot full of arrows, the sun had just crossed into the southern hemisphere. And he said, stop the war! It's going to take 6 months for the sun to travel the full length of the southern hemisphere and come back and enter the northern hemisphere. And I'm not going to leave my body while the sun is in the southern hemisphere. So everybody on both sides, all the opposing armies gather around, and I'm going to tell you about wisdom. And for 6 months, Bhishma lay on this bed of arrows, discoursing about the heritage and the traditions and the customs and the laws and the philosophy of the Sanatana Dharma, the eternal ideals of perfection. And then the day came when the sun crossed the equator, and he said, my time has come. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And he left his body. Om Sam Saraswati Namaha. Namaste. Well, I'm afraid our recording time is up. Were there any other questions?
Yes, Swamiji.
Well, let's go ahead and address them. And then we'll let Agastya and Tapasi tell us about their journey in India.
Swamiji, question from Nanda. Does rebirth really mean then a thought or an idea that was not lovingly or peacefully resolved?
Yes, it really does mean that. Because if there's unfinished business, you have a sanskar, a tendency to come back to finish that business. For example, if we're cleaning the temple and we find somebody swept some rice underneath the carpet, someone's going to sit on that carpet and find a lump in a very unflattering place. And thereafter, someone's going to have to get up and get a broom and maybe the dustpan and clean up the mess. We will be called upon to come and complete our karma. we will be called upon. And that's a sanskara. It creates prarabdha karma. It's one of those arrows departing from the bow, as Shankaracharya described it. We will be called upon to finish and complete our karma. And that's what we're calling rebirth. Do it again. Play it again, Sam. Are there other questions? Well, thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you're all joining us tonight and studying the Bhagavad Gita. Let's hear something from Agastya, who just returned. In fact, he's suffering from jet lag, I'm sure, but he can speak for a few minutes on what they did and what kind of sadhana they did and what kind of experiences they had while sojourning in India. First of all, how long were you there?
We were there 3.5 months.
And what regions of India were you in?
Mostly in the north. We were there for about all but 3 weeks. We spent 3 weeks in the south. And in the north, we're mostly in ashram doing meditation. John was in Dehradun. And we did get to bathe in the Ganga a few times in Hardwar and Rishikesh. It's still very nice there. But the south was interesting because I hadn't been to the south. And this was Tapasi's first time in India. And in the south, we went to Bangalore briefly. And then we went to Tiruvannamalai, Ramana Maharshi's ashram, which is between Pondicherry and Bangalore, about 3.5 hours from Bangalore. And that was Arunachala, the incarnation, the mountain that's the manifestation of Shiva. That was a beautiful place. And there's a lot of sadhana being done there. It's very, very still, very silent, very conducive to doing your sadhana there. So we like that. At first I was thinking, what am I going to do there for, a week? 5 days, I think we had scheduled 5 days. And, we found it was a great place to do sadhana. There's an incredible, huge Shiva temple. It's on 25 acres there also. And there's the caves. We're up on the mountain there. And just very nice place. So at the end, we asked if we could please stay a few more days. And let us stay a few more days. So I think we spent 9 days there. Then we went to Mysore. And Mysore is still a nice town. IT hasn't hit there yet. But there's the Chamundi Hills. There's a nice Chandi temple, Chamunda temple. On the top of it, there's 1,000 stairs up to the top, but you can drive if you mount up to 1,000 stairs. Kind of like in, where was that, where we, Jyotirlingam, Trambakeshwar, had all the stairs. But that's an ancient temple. There's some caves up there, and that was a very nice place.
Were you able to recite the Chandipat there?
That day, it wouldn't have hurt yourself. It was a big holiday. There was hundreds and hundreds of people in the queue to get in. There was pandemonium, actually. And so, fortunately, we were introduced to one of the priests there, and we got to go past the queue and into the inner sanctum. We did get garland. That was a wonderful temple. If you want to do sadhana, you need to go maybe on a little wider day. But there's lots of temples all around India that there's not many people there. And, it can be many places to do your sadhana. If you're going to be chanting your homas, there seem to be more and more homas that are hound coons that aren't just flower pots anymore. They actually are checking for ashes, and they did have ashes in them, so somebody's using them. That was nice to see. We even saw some being built new.
Tapasi, can you tell us your impressions of India, your first trip?
India is an amazing place. Amazing. Everything exists there. It's amazing. The traffic was the one thing that was the biggest difference from America. Traffic temple quite as beautiful as the Devi Mandir.
That's true.
It really is a special place here, and we were appreciating Swamiji and Srima for all the knowledge they've given us and inspiration, that we were able to go there and do sadhana.
We just didn't see the Baba there. I mean, we saw lots of priests. We were in homes with lots of priests. They'd be answering their cell phones in the middle of the home. But everybody's got a cell phone now there. And the Dobbies, the rickshaw walls, everybody. But we didn't see the Baba. We didn't see the life that's here. Everywhere we went, we just went, wow. It's just how special it is here. So.
And we realized for that we don't have to go anywhere. But yeah, I love India. I'm ready to go back.
So much change there, but